Hello there Internet, and welcome to a Metroidvania map announcement video, very much a Metroid-like map announcement video, actually, for Xanthiom 2, which I had the privilege of playing and doing a little bit of playtesting, I suppose, and offering feedback on quite early. I've actually been sitting on this map for a good few weeks at this point, because Mathen basically said I helped him out a little bit with the first game, and would I like to play the second? It's like, yes I would, because I really quite enjoyed the first one. So what we have in front of us here is a map for Xanthiom 2, and it falls into that category of games that I've mapped that I don't really need to have mapped, which is a not small, it's not a tiny category. This is a game with some really good quality of life map features. First of all, the map screen itself is great. It's compact and it gives you the information that you require. It does the classic Metroid thing where it shows you, it auto marks on the map for you if you find a thing but you can't get to it, and it continues to mark on the map if you have collected said thing. There is also an upgrade that you can get which allows you to see everything on the map, which is a reasonably late in the game upgrade, and that just lets you go and find all the things. So do you need an external map guide for Xanthiom 2? No, not really. I don't think so. But it could be nice if you wanted to check stuff off. The other thing that the Xanthiom 2 map in-game does, and you'll see this if you compare this to how your map looks at the start of the game, is you'll notice that once you have completed an area, the border for the area turns yellow. So not only does it mark a load of stuff on for you, but it also shows you if an area is completed if you're not using an external guide. So is this map in any way necessary for you to 100% the game? No, not really, because the game does a bloody good job, in my opinion, of showing you all the things. You've just got to figure out how to get to them. And there aren't really many places or things in the game that require you to have a specific thing in order to get what it is you needed. Is there a critical path? Kinda. Can you try and get to all the different eternity keys, if I remember what they're called? You can try and get to them in any order. You can't. You do need to get certain power-ups in order to get to certain places. It's not like Mean in the Hollow one, which is completely non-linear. You do have Metroidvania-style upgrades or Metroid-style upgrades. You do need to collect certain things in a specific order to access stuff. But Xanthiom 2 does exactly what Xanthiom 1 did, in the sense that it is a game that gives you a lot of mod options for your guns. Unlike in Clockwork Ambrosia, which had 137 or 138 or whatever it was, different mod options spread across 4 guns, Xanthiom 2's mods all work with one gun. There's not as many of them, but they do all contribute to the fire of a single weapon, so you don't need to split them up. So if you kind of quarter what Clockwork Ambrosia does, which, as I said in my Clockwork Ambrosia video, I was completely overwhelmed with. It got to a stage where it was so overwhelming that I just didn't want to engage with it. Xanthiom 2's mod system is just grand enough in scope that you can experiment and find stuff that you like, and there is a loadout system, so you can save up to 3 configurations of stuff. If you have got a terrible aim, like me, I highly recommend making a beeline for the thunder element, because that's got a little bit of a latchy on effect, technical term there, a latchy on effect that zaps enemies that go nearby. You don't need quite as good of an aim if you use that, and then you combine that with other mods, and you can cover the the entire screen with zap, 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 which I had a lot of fun doing. Just like how in Xanthiom 1, one of the real charming, fun things about Xanthiom 1 was just finding utterly broken combinations of mods. And even though they feel broken, they have been intentionally designed. You know, Mathen says that he can beat the final boss in about 2 seconds with the right combination of mods, but you've got to experiment. You've got to really try to figure out, to mix and match, to find what it is that you like. And there are some things in the game that I really quite enjoyed. There were some puzzles that really made me think. There were a couple of puzzles that I just couldn't figure out and had to talk to the dev about. And there were a couple of puzzles that I accidentally managed to brute force, which I think have been changed now, so you do actually have to use your brain rather than accidentally acquire them, because I wasn't intentionally brute forcing these. It was very much I'm trying to figure out what to do. Oh, I've done it. It was that kind of situation. So that is the Xanthiom 2 map. But, and this is where I start giggling to myself, this is not the Xanthiom 2 map that I made first. This is the second one that I made. This is the one going in the Google Drive that everybody can have. Would you like to see how stupid I can get? I mean, let's be honest, if you've seen a lot of my composite videos, like my Mina the Hollower one, for example, or my Axiom Verge one, or even my Silk Song one, 96 hours, you know that I like going a little bit off the rails when it comes to creating maps for stuff. So, for the first game, what I basically did was, because this is a game made in GameMaker Studio 2, and if you've got the right tools, you can just pull out the room files in GameMaker Studio 2. So I went and I pulled out all of the room files from the original game. And then I layered over all the power-ups, breakable blocks, all the mods, save points, and so on and so forth, and put a load of information on there. And the map for this first game doesn't fit together brilliantly, so I drew on a load of lines and turned it into a fairly comprehensive and, I'd say, fairly easy to use visual map where everything looks exactly how it does in game. And I thought, I'll do the same for Xanthiom 0. For Xanthiom 2. So this was the Xanthiom 0 map. I'll do the same for Xanthiom 2. So I started, and I quickly realised that actually the map for Xanthiom 2 in many ways links up better, and in a few ways doesn't link up quite right at all. So rather than just stitch it together like this and draw lines between places, I can't believe I did this. Here we have the Xanthiom 2 map. And you might think, Demajen, this does not look anything like the Xanthiom 0 map. No, it doesn't. And in fact, it doesn't look much like the room-based map that I did for Xanthiom 0 either. What you have got here is me having an idea about how I wanted to do something, not being able to do it like that, and jumping on the first thought that I had as to how I could fix it. So what you've actually got here is all of the different room files, as in the Xanthiom 0 map, laid out in the closest way that I could, and then drawn over. So what this is me spending several hours before I even put any information on whatsoever. Me spending several hours drawing over the map with the pen tool or the rectangle tool in Photoshop, and then adding the drop shadow, adding the stroke in, adding the colours from the actual game map to this, and then adding in all of the information over the top. The base map itself took me longer to do than playing the entire game. And then, of course, I had to put on all of the information. What is the difference between this map and this map in terms of information? Well, this map is quite basic. It tells you what is where and what things are. That's all it does. It tells you the items and it shows you where they are. This map has got notes. It tells you not only what things are, but what they do. It tells you how to get to bits and pieces and so on and so forth. It is a more comprehensive map because this is the one that I did first. I did this first and then I thought, this took quite a lot of effort and it's quite complex and it might actually not be all that easy for people to understand. So I'll do this one as well. But as I've already established, Xanthiom 2 isn't really a game that you need a map for because the in-game map is kind of good. So realistically, this is actually I'm not going to say worthless because I think that puts me down a bit. And I've been working on trying to hype myself up a little bit for the whole mental health reasons whilst I've been ill for so long. But in terms of, was this a sensible use of my time? No, not really. But is it cool? Yes. Yes, it is. And seeing it all laid out like this and having gone through the process of creating it, I had a really good time doing that. So is it a map that people are going to get any real usage or need for? No. But did I have fun making it? Yes. So yes, the Xanthiom 2, I don't even know what to call this, the detailed map versus the simple map, I think is the best way. Because on my websites, when I describe what a map looks like in the map tag, I describe this as detailed and this as grid-based. So this is the Xanthiom 2 detailed map. Does it look anything like it does in game? Nope. Should it be easy to use to get around? Yes. How do I know this? Because I used it. I played through the game using this to help me get around, and it does help. And then I've got the notes on it. I had it zoomed out like this on my second monitor so I could navigate. And then if I couldn't remember how to do a puzzle, I'd zoom in and I'd read that. So it does help you navigate. But as I said, it's not a difficult game to get around. It's quite a difficult game to get lost in. So is this a map that is going to be useful for people? Probably not. But does it look cool? Yes, in my opinion. And yes, I'm biased, but I'm allowed to, as I say, big myself up. The grid-based map will be available for everybody in the Google Drive, so if you want to know where certain mods are so you can plan routes out and get them early or so on and so forth, or you want to know where the bosses are, all that kind of jazz, you can use this one for absolutely free in the Google Drive. It's there for everybody to use. If you want, for whatever reason, this much more interesting, in my opinion, detailed map with more comprehensive information on it, it's available in the usual place on mycoffee.com store. There will have been somewhere on the screen some footage of the game to give you an idea as to what it's like. If it looks like your cup of tea, go pick it up. I can't imagine it's going to be massively expensive. I don't think at the time I'm recording this, there's no store page listing for price. But I hope you enjoy it, because I did. Thank you very much once again to Mathan for getting a key to me in ridiculously early. It's very much appreciated. It meant that I was able to get this silliness done and dusted well before I needed to worry about speeding through it. And the rest of you, have yourselves a wonderful day. Thank you for the support as always. Cheerio. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.